all by myself. I don't want to be all by myself. Oh, I didn't see you come in there. Forgive me. I've just been sitting here stewing in my loneliness. Because as we all know, one is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. It's been a sad, lonely time here on Star Trek Stories, because it's just me. But yes, hello. Welcome, everyone, to Star Trek Stories. I am your host and creator, Jaron Hatch. We are returning from a little break. I hope you have all gotten to enjoy some summer fun time. When last we all met, we were here for Nerd Movies 5 Blade Runner. And it seems strange to say that we had a fun time watching it, since Blade Runner is famously bleak and depressing. But it is definitely a fun movie to watch. Very interesting experience always watching Blade Runner. I hope you all tuned in and enjoy that episode. If not, I would definitely recommend going back and check it out. We did have a good little group together for that one. We had our good returning friends Marquet and Salem on, as well as our new friend Natty. All delightful people. Speaking of friends, or lack thereof in this case, Nerd Movies 5, alas, was the last episode of our good friend Aren Cole as my regular co-host. A sad time, indeed, and he will be very missed, though he will doubtless be back again, but his presence will certainly be felt from here through the rest of the show. Now, I'm sure some of you at home have been up all night, going to your fridge late at night, trying to get a snack, and just thinking to yourself, what does that mean for Star Trek Stories? I don't know. Does this mean that I will be going it alone? I certainly could. I have enough personality to fill up the room, that's for sure. However, I do not want this podcast to be unchecked ego stroking, because it certainly would be if it was just me. Yes, goodness gracious, no, we will not. I will not be continuing this show alone. It would be terribly lonely. This show is about sharing Star Trek perspectives with each other, as Star Trek is a great show for examining perspectives. So, what it does mean is that I will be having a new co-host joining me for this next bunch of episodes. Exciting times! Who could it be? Well, I'll tell you who it is. Sitting on my left, I have my new co-host, the very lovely Aren Hatch is here.
Yeah! Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
We've gone from Aren to Aren on this show.
And I will tell you, sometimes when people say Aren, either I think they're talking about me because so many people mispronounce my name as Aren, or I just accidentally hear Aren. It's like back in the old days when my first name was Callan, and so many people would call me Kaylin in school that when they did roll call, when people said Caitlin, so sometimes it's really hard to hear that like glottal stop in the middle. And so one time during class, I was like, here, and everyone looked at me like, what are you doing? And I think about that sometimes. I'm sorry. I don't know why I went on this tangent, but
it keeps me up at night. Yes. For those new to the show, Aren is my sibling, my youngest sibling. you've been here for a few episodes. First, you were here for the TOS episode, Elan of Troyes.
The creature, Elan.
That creature, Elan. I think we were all agreed that that is not a very good episode, but we all had a blast watching it. That's one of those, like, if you want, like, campy, not great Star Trek, but have a good time with Star Trek, Land of Troyes is here for you.
That said, I feel like at this point, I can only ever watch it again as long as there's someone else there with me.
Yeah.
I can't watch it alone.
No. Yeah, some of those bad Star Trek episodes are great if you watch it with someone.
Yeah.
Code of Honor is a terrible episode. If you get a group of people to watch it, just because of how bad it is, it can be a riotous time. Spock's Brain is, of course, the most famous of these. It's almost watching watching an episode of 60s Batman. It's Spock's Brain. Then you were here for the classic TNG two-parter Best of Both Worlds. And I know, as much as you are definitely a hardcore Star Trek fan. You're one of the most hardcore Star Trek fans I know. But you aren't as hip on TNG.
No, that's a rare TNG banger.
But that's a banger. Mm-hmm. And of course, we all definitely enjoyed that. You said, like, yeah, it's almost like watching one of the TNG movies.
Movies, yeah.
And if Best of Both Worlds was a TNG movie, it would easily be one of the best, if not the best, TNG movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. What?
I'm sorry. I'm a big First Contact fan.
First Contact stan. But First Contact is only as good as it is because of Best of Both Worlds, if we're being completely honest with ourselves.
Sure, it's the sequel that surpasses the original.
Oh, hard disagree, but perhaps one day we will get to First Contact and have some discussions about it. And then most recently, you were here for Nerd Movies 4 Mad Max Fury Road. Which I know you're a pretty big fan of, as am I.
It was nice to finally see it again after I hadn't seen it since theaters. So.
Yeah, me neither, but I think we're all pretty universal. I'm like, this movie just kicks ass.
Yeah, it's real good. Almost, maybe the closest a movie has ever come to being perfect.
Perfect. Some years ago, I started watching through BBC, put together a list of the best movies of the century so far, the 21st century. It goes from like 2000 to 2016. So it's just like an interesting little chunk of movies. And I was like, yeah, I need to see some more modern stuff. And it's an international film list, so there's some great international stuff on there. Number 2 is In the Mood for Love, Hong Kong film. Please check it out. It's incredible. But pretty high on this list. It's a 100-episode list. Like number 16, 17, 18, 19, I can't remember. It was Mad Max Fury Road. I'm like, that's pretty damn high. Because also that movie would have been like a year old, I think, when the list came out. But even then, people were like, this movie just kicks ass. Dark Knight was also on that list. I'm like,
sorry.
If you wanted to have a list of best superhero movies, best Batman movies, and wanted to rank that pretty high, fine, absolutely. Best movies of the century, like that's a bold claim. The Dark Knight, it's real good, but
that movie is very overrated, in my opinion.
It's great. It's great for what it is. If Heath Ledger's Joker was not in that movie,
it would no, yeah.
And that movie lives and dies on him.
His performance, yeah.
Wait,
what was number 1?
Mulholland Drive.
That's on my list of movies to see.
It's so good. Like, I can sometimes struggle with movies that are either obtuse or just so far up their own ass, because you run the risk of just like, what the hell? What's the point? But when it's done right, and this is one of those, like, you know there's something there, and it is thematically resonant, but it gives you a lot to try to figure. It demands a lot of the audience for you to interpret and figure out. That movie is almost, if not actually, pitch perfect in what it's trying to do. It's so good. That's one of those movies you go back many times and just find new things to think about and consider. It's so good. Highly recommend.
That makes me even more excited to see it.
Mulholland Drive, so good. Number 2, In the Mood for Love, also couldn't recommend it. I think number 3 was There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Hard recommend. And number 4 was Spirited Away.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, these first 4 films, like, no notes. No notes.
Yeah. Well, I've seen the 3 of those, so I definitely need to go watch the second one.
Oh, so good. Yeah. So good. Speaking of nerd movies, just because we recently watched it, what are your thoughts on the whole Blade Runner thing?
I do not like the first Blade Runner movie. I like the sequel.
Okay. What is it you don't like about? We briefly talked about the sequel, and it is still on our for consideration list. Like both of them are on there because they're both interesting movies in their own right. I personally prefer the first film. I've only seen the second film once. What is it you don't like about the first film? Do you remember which? Real quick, do you remember which version of the film you watched? There's a few different cuts of that film.
The one with the voiceover?
Ah, yes, the theatrical cut, the worst cut.
Maybe? I'm not sure. Or
Did you get the Harrison Ford voiceovers?
I can't remember. Now I can't remember if I just remember people talking about how the voiceover is. I don't know.
You don't remember? Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's not that these cuts are so different from each other, but the best cut is the one we watched, the final cut, in my opinion. Anyway.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, all right. So, the sequel. The cinematography, the production design, and the music do all the heavy lifting for me. Mm-hmm. If those were not the way they are, I would not care about that movie because I do not care about the plot, really, at all. Mm. Also has Jared Leto, and fuck him. So,
sure.
So I also don't really care about the plot of the first movie.
Yeah.
Maybe I also movies where like cops or the leads I either love them or I hate them because I don't. Yeah. And I fucking hate the main character.
Deckard.
He's awful.
Yeah.
He's awful. Even if it was just because of that rapey scene. Even if it was just because of that. But otherwise, I still hate him.
Yeah.
It's easier to list what I like about that movie. What I like about that movie is one song from the soundtrack, which is Rachel's song.
Okay,
And then I like the guy whose name I just forgot.
Rutger Hauer.
Yes, yeah. You already knew. Yeah,
that's everyone's favorite.
It's everyone's favorite character.
We talked about he kind of steals the whole movie.
Yeah,
but I think he's supposed to.
He's just too good.
He's so good. He makes. But yeah, I can't imagine that movie without Rutger Hauer. He's so iconic in that movie.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but the rest of it, I'm just like, it is bleak. I don't usually have a problem with bleak, but I feel like it didn't have anything else going for it, really. And Rutger Hauer, as great as he is in that movie, isn't enough to make me enjoy the movie, especially considering that I just get so much of Harrison Ford's character.
We watched the big thing we talked about in that one was like the aesthetics and just how incredible these on an aesthetic level and like at a design. Because there really isn't a lot of plot in that film, and there's not a lot of character stuff either. It's mostly immersing you in the world and letting that do the talking, and it's really interesting.
That movie though is really dark though. Like I don't mean tone wise, I mean like actual lighting and stuff. Because when I try to think of the visuals in that movie, all I see is just like blackness. Because that's all I remember from it. Nothing sticks out like the new Blade Runner, which is super colorful, even though everything's muted mostly. So I can't really remember the visuals outside him in the rain.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
We watched the fancy 4K remastered 4K Blu-ray and on the OLED TV to really bring out the darks and the colors, and everyone was like, holy shit, this movie looks incredible. And I wonder if watching that would help kind of make that, because there were shots where like, oh my God, look at this. Like, this isn't for 1982. This is incredible.
Okay, I'll have to come, even though I don't like that movie, I will come back. Maybe I'll come over to your house specifically just to watch it on your TV, because like I said, I'm a big visuals fan.
Yeah.
If the movie is pretty, I can overlook a lot of things.
I mean, that's a lot of what we talked about. It's just how incredible the design and the look of the film is. Yeah, well, while nerd movies are fun, we're really here to talk about Star Trek on this podcast. Now, you've been on the show a few times, Aren, and we definitely talked a little bit about your thoughts on Star Trek, but now that you're stepping into this co-host role, I just wanted to go a little more into depth. Like, what is your Star Trek story? Like, I know all of us Hatch siblings are pretty big fans. All four of us are, and we've all been on the podcast at this point. But what does this whole thing mean to you personally? Well, what is this whole Star Trek? Because I know Star Trek is just, like many of us, there's just so many nerd geek things we love. You and Tanner right now are going super hard on Final Fantasy 14. There's so many things that we love, but I think all four of us would agree that our Star Trek is easily our favorite.
It's like the one constant in my life.
There's one constant.
It's always been there, and it always will be. Even if I'm not really watching new Trek stuff like the old stuff, I'll always go back to it. I mean, I might have said this on my first episode, but anytime I see you, I feel like at some point we just start talking about Star Trek. It always happens.
Every time.
Every single time. I don't know, I just come back to it, and I feel like also because there's just so much of it, there's so much to talk about, because there's so many little nuances, and as new things happen in real life, you can, relate them back to Star Trek episodes and movies, Yeah, you never run out of things to talk about. And I think it's a little different than other nerd things that I like, not only because it's always been in my life, but because the view of the future is so hopeful, and there's so many ideals in there that I want to work towards, and I feel like because of the last decade or decade and a half, so much media has gotten so dark, and that's fine, but there's just so much of it, and it's really nice that Star Trek is just like, you don't have to be dark and edgy to be interesting, or to tell a good story. So I really like that aspect of Star Trek. I want to see more stories like this, even if it's not Star Trek. I want to see stories that kind of take a similar approach. And Star Trek isn't perfect, and so I'm always thinking about, it shows ideals I want to search for. What's the ideal Star Trek, though? Like, how can we make Star Trek even better, too, while still holding on to its very, core principles? I don't think you need to move away from those, even though I feel like New Trek would say, it's good to become Star Wars. I don't know.
No. I don't mind having some pew-pews in there. Come on, but...
Well, yeah, there's always been pew-pews, and there's always been violence, but it's just so careless. Modern Star Trek is just so careless.
Yeah.
It's all about being giddy and isn't that cool? Rather, I mean, you can have the cool stuff, but that's all it is. That's all they're trying to do. They're just trying to make it, cool. Rather than being cool and having meaning.
I mean, I think some of those instincts have been in the franchise since day one, but certainly in more modern times, a lot of those instincts have come up a lot more, and it's like, God damn it. Come on, guys.
There needs to be a balance.
Yeah.
And it's gone to the almost opposite side of the so I wish it would go back, but Prodigy season 2 is out. I need to see that. You said it got really, really good things people were saying about it. So
it's essentially being universally praised, and a lot of people are saying like this is the best modern Trek show now, period. Like, it just is because of that. And I love the first season. Like, I was already there with the first season.
Oh yeah, it's great.
People say the second season's even better. So I haven't watched it yet too, but Jenny and I are watching it, and so we're gonna start that at some point.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that, and that gives me hope because it's Star Trek, and it's not compromising what Star Trek is. If it follows the first season, and and I don't know, I'm really excited to watch it. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. Okay.
You can find it by. Yeah, I think I echo some similar thoughts, especially because I also am like, I would love to see. I know there's a lot of people who say like, I want Star Trek to go back to what it was doing before. I'm like, I agree and I disagree, in the sense like I do not want to go back. We're still in this big giant chunk of golden age Trek, and we've also looked at classic Trek, and I love these shows, but I'm like, I don't want to go back to that. I want to keep going forward and taking all what worked in these eras and then really keep pushing and adding new things and kind of jettisoning some of the things that didn't work as much. I'm not, and we'll get to it, folks, but I'm not exactly sure what modern Trek is trying to do. It doesn't feel, in some aspects, yes, but it also feels like a step backward, unfortunately.
Most of the time, to me, it doesn't feel like it's trying to do anything except entertain, and it can't even do that well.
It depends. It depends on the show, and again, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I am speaking very generally. But
very generally speaking. And I also, like, because in my own writing, one of my big challenges to myself is, like, I want to, because a lot of people say, utopia isn't interesting, utopian storytelling is interesting, like, conflict is so central to storytelling, you can't have good storytelling in utopia. I'm just like, I get it, and I think doing something like a dystopia makes a lot of sense for the conflict reasons, and of course you do need to have conflict in story. Otherwise, what are we doing? Magic School Bus? There's even conflict in there.
Carlos.
But I'm like, I don't think this means utopian storytelling isn't valid. I think it's incredibly challenging, but I think it's a really worthwhile challenge to take on. It's like, how can we do this? So I have my own theories about how to do utopian stories. I'm still working on it. But I think it's really interesting. I think just because we move toward a better society, I don't think conflict just stops. I think conflict's always going to be here. Just living is conflict.
The thing is with Star Trek is that Earth and other Federation planets themselves might be that utopia, but we focus so much on the outer rim, where they're interacting with places that aren't utopias. So that's how the conflict is appearing in most regards in Star Trek. Yeah. Because if you have just a series just set on Federation Earth, it might be completely different. Like,
very different.
But even that has conflict. There's that TNG episode where Starfleet Academy, they lie about doing that maneuver, and their buddy dies. Yep.
Or the Deep Space Nine two-parter with the Starfleet takeover of the Federation.
Is that the Changeling one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the things, because we recently covered Deep Space Nine on the show. I think it's one of those things that Deep Space Nine does a really good job, because people will always call Deep Space Nine the dark one. I'm like, while that's true, the show still is actually pretty optimistic, and I think it really kind of starts to hone in on some of that, what the tension is. It's like you've now kind of moved into a better world, but it's like I'm always reminded that of that line from Next Generation that Picard says. I think I've said it a couple times on the show. Vigilance, Mr. Worf. It is the price we must continually pay. I'm like, what does it take to keep Utopia going? Like, that's going to be a full-time job. Like, just because you're there doesn't mean that it can't ever go away. There's always going to be forces trying to take all that apart. And so Deep Space Nine, I think, is interesting because it's trying to, like, how do we keep it going? And when Utopia is in danger and the wolves are at the door, like, how do we act? How do we keep it going? I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to explore there, and I would love to see both Star Trek continue to push that envelope, and I would love to see other things try to take a crack at. It doesn't have to be some space traveling show, because in a lot of ways the utopian aspects to Star Trek are kind of tertiary. It's not necessarily what the show is explicitly about, but it is still interesting. Regardless. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you had to pick one, Deep Space Nine is also your favorite Star Trek show.
It's my favorite TV show.
Favorite TV show. Okay, so
so safe to say.
So you are in the cool camp with Aren and myself. We also think.
I'm in the cool camp already, just by being a hatch.
Okay. So, just by, I think all of us are agreed, though. Does Kai put TNG above Deep Space Nine? I think he might.
That would track.
That would track with Kai, which I'm like, to me, my three favorite are the first three live action shows, TOS, TNG, and DS9. TOS will always be my nostalgic favorite. But I preface that with nostalgic. If someone said, what's the best, if I'm being more objective, I'm like, Next Gen and Deep Space Nine. It's hard for me to pick one over the other but those two shows together, Next Generation is the ideal Star Trek show in many ways, and Deep Space Nine feels like, and here's how you could really push this franchise in a really cool direction. TNG and Deep Space Nine are pretty close for me, but but if I had to pick one, if someone tells me TOS is my nostalgic favorite, TNG, I'm like, if you can only watch one, that's the one to watch. It's the ideal Star Trek show. What is secretly the best is Deep Space Nine. Though as time goes on, that becomes less of a secret.
Yeah.
But, to this day, there are still people who Deep Space Nine is not their jam. And I get it. I definitely get some people come to Star Trek for a very specific thing, and that's not what Deep Space Nine is. And I totally get it. Totally get it. But you would also agree that Deep Space Nine's
far and away
the one. Far and away. Far and away. Okay. But I also know you're not as crazy about TNG as some other people are.
No, so... Here's my list.
Oh boy.
DS9.
Here we go. Hot takes incoming, everyone.
DS9.
Yeah.
Enterprise. TOS. Voyager.
Wow.
TNG.
It's very possible, Aren, that you are the only person in the world that has this order.
Only one person in the right can hold absolute truth, and I'm.
Oh, you are.
I know it's a heavy burden to bear, but I will bear it for us all.
The arbiter of truth over here. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. But we are agreed that Deep Space Nine is the one to beat to this day. Interesting. I think this is going to be really fun having you on for what's coming ahead. If you at home are new to the podcast, all the new people who find this show, we are currently going through a curated 100 episode list that I've titled Venturing Through the Universe.
Every episode is Threshold.
Oh my God. We're calling this Threshold. Welcome to Threshold Stories, everyone. The finest Threshold coverage in the sector. We're calling this Venturing Through the Universe. In this 100 episode list, we are taking a look at the entire franchise from beginning to end. And I think this is one of the things I love doing about this show is most Star Trek shows out there, podcasts, YouTube shows, they tackle these shows one at a time, and we are kind of looking at more of the Star Trek franchise than any one particular show. One of the things I am personally proud of, and how it's more about how all these shows stack up against each other, and just Star Trek as a whole, all the shades of Star Trek. And all the different ways people come at Star Trek also, because everyone has their favorite Star Trek show. So it's fun for me to cover the franchise more than any one particular show. Now, and also, this is an imperfect list. I don't think this is not a best of greatest hits list. Star Trek has there's some great episodes. There are some bad episodes, and then there's just lots of middling average episodes. And so as I've been doing this, I'm trying to get a more holistic view of the whole thing. For a good long while now, the majority of the show, we have been doing a deep dive into what I like to call Golden Age Trek. This is that magical period of time when Star Trek was constantly running from 1987 to 2005. This is in terms of content especially, this is the longest, by far the longest, and most popular era of the show. Golden Age Trek accounts for still the vast majority of Star Trek content to this day. So far, the majority of our coverage has been Star Trek The Next Generation. 40 of our episodes have been entirely dedicated to it in this 100 episode list. So definitely more than its fair share. TNG is still probably the most popular and beloved Trek show of them all. And this is the show that kicked off the Golden Age, and
it's the show.
It's the show. Both generally speaking, and in terms of we're talking Golden Age Trek, TNG is the show. Mm-hmm. And TNG was so popular that eventually spin-offs became inevitable. In our last chunk of episodes, we took a 19-episode look at Deep Space Nine and the end of TNG. And this was the first time in the franchise there were two Trek shows on at the same time. And two very different shows. Deep Space Nine and TNG, for being contemporaries and being made by a lot of the same people, these are two very different shows from each other. And in our list, we have, the spinoff Deep Space Nine getting off the ground, trying to figure itself out, while we have, the long-running TNG. That show's on the way out. It's wrapping things up. But Deep Space Nine wasn't quite posited to necessarily be the successor to TNG, at least to TNG's legacy. It was positioned more of this kind of like alternative Trek show that was running concurrently with TNG when it first started. Something a little different. And I remember when this show came on for the first time. And if any of you remember differently, you can email us at storiedstartrek@gmail.com. That's storiedstartrek@gmail.com. From what I remember that Deep Space Nine, when the show was coming out and all the hype around Deep Space Nine, it wasn't that this was going to be the show to replace TNG. It was this new other show. And I think a lot of the big hype was that more so than Deep Space Nine, there was going to be two Star Trek shows on at the same time, was a lot of what the hype was about. That's at least how I interpreted it as a kid. So a lot of our coverage last chunk was these two shows happening at the same time. Deep Space Nine would go on to have its own long, successful 7-season run like TNG. But it never quite got the ratings and response that they wanted it to. Though in retrospect, it has now become one of the most beloved Star Trek shows of them all. The Deep Space Nine fans are the hardest of the hardcore Star Trek fans.
I mean, for the time, it makes sense to me. TNG is way more accessible than Deep Space Nine. And so it makes sense that people wouldn't necessarily get into it as much. It's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah. The ratings were fine, but they were never up to what TNG was. And I think there were some studio concerns that Deep Space Nine was not the show to spearhead the franchise going forward. Though I should probably also say the head honcho at the time, Rick Berman, has gone on record that he did want to focus on Deep Space Nine after TNG, but the studio had other plans. He didn't even want to do Deep Space Nine until TNG was over, but again, the studio kept overruling him on these.
I like the overlap.
You like the overlap?
I do.
I think the Deep Space Nine TNG overlap is fine because it's not super long.
It's just long enough, and they take place at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a fun, newish kind of a thing. It's like these two shows are going on, but they're in the same universe. Mm-hmm. So you could be watching a Deep Space Nine episode, and you could just think, it was like, I wonder what the Enterprise is doing right now.
And then you could watch the next generation episode, and there would be overlap into what's going on. We kind of the last stuff we covered was like the demilitarized zone being set up in TNG, and then how that sets up the Maquis in Deep Space Nine.
And I feel like at the time I don't know all the TV shows that were happening for most of the 20th century, but I feel like that was kind of like a novel kind of a thing. We're used to it now. There's crossovers upon crossovers and all kinds of things.
This was not happening way before there was the Marvel Cinematic Universe or anything. Like, there was the Star Trek universe. Paved a lot of the way for a lot of this stuff. So this is all fairly novel at the time. Though I can see, especially once TNG goes off the air, why you would want to give us some time to focus on Deep Space Nine before we come out with a new Star Trek show. But the studio was like, we're going to come out with a new one. Again, Deep Space Nine was still pretty new with this new show, so I can see more of the concern with this one than with TNG and Deep Space Nine. During this time, Paramount was gearing up to launch a new TV network. This is a lot of why things happened the way they did. They had been wanting to set up a new television network, one that would rival the Big Four at the time: CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox. And this network would indeed become the legendary and certainly not ill-fated UPN.
That doesn't even... I don't even know what that is.
What's UPN?
What's UPN?
The United Paramount Network. It's also the precursor to CW.
Oh, God, it all makes sense now.
Because there was also the UPN, and then eventually Warner Brothers came out with the WB, and then eventually these two networks merged to become CW, which was CBS Warner Brothers.
Considering I know you haven't introduced officially Voyager, but it makes sense. I was like, Voyager could be on CW.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Voyager could be on UPN. It was on UPN. UPN, United Paramount Network. For launching this new network, Paramount wanted to kick the network off with a really big show. And they decided that this big show would be a new Star Trek series. This is how they were going to launch the network. And it wouldn't just be any new Trek show. This would be the true successor to Next Generation. Not like that pesky, weird Deep Space Nine space station show. This was going to be this is the real new Star Trek show, though. And it's also good to note that this is not the first time that Paramount had tried this. Back in the 1970s, they had tried to launch a Paramount network with what was going to be at the time Star Trek Phase 2, which was going to be a sequel to the original series with the same cast and everything, going on a new 5-year mission. That network never came to be, and eventually Phase 2 was retooled into what would become Star Trek the Motion Picture. Characters like Decker and Ilea were actually created for the new show. That's why they're in the movie. But this time, however, the new network and Trek series would indeed come to fruition. So this time it all actually happens. And that's what we're going to be watching in our next batch of episodes. This batch of episodes that we are simply titling Voyager.
Excuse me, that's the Voyager?
The Voyager, yeah. We've got to get back to the Voyager. And then you realize, the Enterprise sounds stupid when you think about it like that. It's just Enterprise. Yes, we are going to be watching Star Trek Voyager in this next batch of episodes. Yay! Oh boy, folks, it's Voyager time on Star Trek Stories.
There's just the one house in the neighborhood doing fireworks, and everyone else is just like,
Just shut up. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Fuck your Voyager. That's my goddamn constitutional right to celebrate Voyager. Oh boy. Voyager, everyone, it's time. I know you all knew it was coming, and we finally got here.
You've been breathless with anticipation.
Breathless. Star Trek Voyager. This is going to be a 17-episode selection. Our second longest in our 100-episode list, second only to the last one, which was 19 episodes. And like with Deep Space Nine that we covered last time, this is going to be a look at the first 2 seasons of Voyager with one tiny little peek at season 3. And this is going to be spanning from 1995 to 1996. Just right smack dab in the middle of 90s Trek. Our thesis, at least my thesis with Golden Age Trek, is that this whole era is really defined by the success of TNG. And so with the spin-offs and successor shows, we are specifically looking at their early conceptions and how they differentiate themselves to TNG. We looked at kind of how Deep Space Nine kind of got started and how they try to set themselves apart from Next Generation. And now we're going to be looking at Voyager and seeing how they set themselves apart from Next Generation. And I guess one of the things we're really going to be looking at with this one is not just how they distinguish themselves, but also because, again, this one was kind of hyped to be the true successor to TNG. So we're going to also see, at least in this early conception, how successful they are at being the show that carries the Next Generation legacy. Exciting times. Aren, one of the reasons I brought you on to be my co-host for Voyager is that I know you're a big fan of this show. You like this one more than TNG by quite a bit, I believe.
Oh, yeah. All of them are pretty close when I have my list, and then every time I type it down or write it down, I have all 4, 3? I can count. Yeah, I have the 3 of them kind of just all... No, it is 4. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God, I can't count. But we knew this. I'm the one who asked what 10 plus 1 is when I roll D&D dice.
11.
Yeah. I shout it so that everyone around me can answer.
Math.
Oh, well, what's 10 plus 1? No, okay, sorry. 4, sorry.
5.
No. I have the 4.
The 4.
I'll basically just
and
next to each
TNG.
other. And then I'll do Period. TNG.
Damn.
Just way at the bottom.
This is so wild to me.
Only the series.
That's how I am with the first 3 live action shows. TOS, TNG, Deep Space Nine. Not necessarily in that order. And then ... Voyager Enterprise.
TNG movies, however, are up there with the rest. Not Nemesis.
TNG movies for me also ... Without getting too much into it, because we're going to be watching all these, just if we're talking about it real briefly, what are your feelings on this show?
It's silly, goofy. On the whole, it's pretty blasé.
Okay, at least you can admit that.
Oh, Jaron. Jaron, I know this show has...
At least you can admit you have a problem.
Has piles and piles of issues. But I enjoy it nonetheless.
Okay, despite itself.
Despite itself, I enjoy it. And I always say, if there was one TV show in all of existence that I could remake, it would be Voyager. Because I think it has a really great concept that they just did nothing with. It was just so committed to following formula that it didn't let itself actually go anywhere or do anything. But
yet you like it.
I do. I like the cast.
Okay.
The characters are pretty... There's not much there for most of them.
But the cast.
But I like the cast. And I like seeing them do their thing. And I think the strongest... The 2 strongest things about the show are Janeway and 7 of 9. So if Janeway's there, I'm in. I'll watch it. She's great. She's insane.
She is completely bonkers.
She's bonkers. And so I love watching her and seeing what she's going to do. And Kate Mulgrew is just in there like 200%. She's just eating it up.
I'm in it to win it.
And then, oh, there she is. She laughs. And then 7 of 9, who, I don't know, she was a breath of fresh air after whatever the first 3 seasons are. And it's fun to follow her actual character journey. She's one of the few characters that actually gets to have a journey.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't even think Janeway has a journey. I think she's just bouncing around like crazy.
Yep.
So there's one character in the show who has a journey, and Jerry Ryan plays her very well.
The Doctor has a journey.
Oh, the Doctor has a journey.
He definitely does.
He does.
He definitely
He's
does.
never been my favorite,
Those two
though.
definitely have a journey they go on.
Yeah, and they get a lot of screen time together.
Yep.
And so does Janeway and
Yep.
7.
Yep.
I've never really cared for the Doctor very much.
Hot take. You take that back.
Yeah, he has his moments. But yeah, they have. I always loved 7 of 9. It's also.
Don't we all? We all.
I hate
everyone
to say
loves.
this, but I'm sorry. She's gorgeous AF.
That's true.
Those cat suits are fucking stupid, though. Just please give her normal clothes.
Everyone, despite their feelings on Voyager, everyone loves 7 of 9.
Yeah. And despite how her writing and her characters treated in Picard, I still enjoy seeing her on screen because I think
Jerry Ryan's great.
with whatever she's given, even if it's complete crap, Jerry Ryan gives it her all. So
always brings it.
And she's great. And it is fun to see how different she is, but she still has those 7 of 9-ness.
Unfortunately, we are not going to be watching any 7 of 9 episodes on this list because there is a whole era of the show before 7 shows up. So as iconic as she is not part of the legacy of... There is a legacy of the show that does not include her.
Which is crazy. It sometimes I forget that she wasn't always there.
She shows up relatively late in the show.
Yeah, season 4.
She's still in the majority of the show.
Just like Worf.
She's Worf.
See, this is my favorite characters show up in season 4.
Yeah, this is going to be fun because I myself am not as big a fan of the show as you are. When it comes to Golden Age Trek, at the very least, I'm definitely more of a fan of TNG and Deep Space Nines, and Voyager is kind of when things taper off a bit for me. So it'll be curious to get both of our thoughts on this show. We definitely have someone who is a Voyager champion, stan. I don't know, whatever.
I'm not a stan, but I will defend Voyager to my dying breath. Perhaps beyond.
Perhaps beyond. I will not. I will not be championing the show.
We need mediocre television. We need it.
I can't agree. I'd almost rather have. I would agree that we need bad TV. I don't know if we need mediocre TV. Mediocre TV is almost the worst. At least bad TV gives you fun stuff to talk about, and I get an emotional reaction to bad TV. Mediocre TV is like, beep.
I like mediocre TV because it's turn off your brain.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Voyager is the best Star Trek show to put on in the background while you're doing other stuff. That's not a glowing review of the show, though.
If you need a healthy dose of technobabble, you need look no further than Voyager.
No further than Voyager.
If you thought the other series were bad, just you wait.
This is the technobabble show. This is going to be fun. We're going to have so far in the show, Aren and I were pretty similar in our thoughts on all these shows. Voyager is still Star Trek, so I definitely enjoy it. I definitely enjoy watching it. I enjoy talking about it. If I weren't such a big Star Trek fan, my thoughts on the show might be a little different. But you're much more of a fan, so I think we're gonna have some fun, differing perspectives as co-hosts on this show. For next time, kicking this whole list off. We are going to appropriately be starting with the feature-length series premiere, Caretaker. So right off the bat, we'll see how successful this show is in its first up at bat. And as much as I have feelings about Voyager, I am still excited to be starting this show. And I always love watching the premieres. It's always fun seeing how all these shows try to get themselves off the ground. I think it's going to be really exciting. Joining us for that one, we are going to be having a returning guest on with us. Our good friend Adriana Lemke will be back on with us, whom we have not seen in a while. That's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is going to be pretty new for her. I think TNG is mostly what she's familiar with, so Voyager is going to be new for Adriana. That's going to be a lot of fun to have her back on with us. And we will be having on a new friend on with us as well, which is always a lot of fun, who also, I think, does not have much exposure with this show. So we're going to have a couple of fresh perspectives coming in with us oldies who have seen this show 1,000 million times. Any final thoughts, Aren? Aren, I'm excited to have you on the podcast as my co-host for this.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm glad you asked me. I love Voyager.
Yeah, as soon as I knew this was coming, and I knew Voyager was coming, I'm like, there's only one person I can ask to do this, and it has to be, if I didn't ask you, it'd be like,
disowned.
How dare you? Disowned, yeah. This is my time to shine, Jaron. Yeah. No, this is going to be super fun. It's going to be super fun watching these together. And
I haven't watched season 1 through 2 episodes in a hot minute. Usually when I go back and watch Voyager, it's
starting with 7.
It's starting with season 4 plus.
Yep.
Usually season 5 and 6 is usually where I go.
Okay. Yeah, this will be fun because then it'll also kind of be fresh for you because as much as you list 7, no 7.
No 7.
No 7. Nope. No. Sorry, everyone. No 7 of 9. You'll have to wait for your favorite Borg bimbo.
No. You don't have to wait. You can go right now on Paramount Plus, and you can start up her first episode. You can watch. You don't need to wait for permission, everyone. She's there.
Star Trek 7 of 9 is streaming on Paramount Plus. You can find it by bringing up season 4 through season 7. Oh boy. Yeah, Star Trek Voyager. Woo, boy. Fun times. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Next time, Star Trek Voyager, Adriana, a new friend, and the beginning of Aren's tenure as our co-host. No pressure.
Can I put this on my resume?
I don't know if you'd want to. Are you trying to get a job or be laughed out of the room? Because either whatever, then yes or no is the answer. Hell yeah, everyone. We will see you all next time. Make sure to bring your coffee black. All right, everyone. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.